All right, so first play we're going to look at, 2nd and 2, one of the Patriots' first offensive plays.
What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick, Taylor Kyles here for CLNS Media, back with another episode of the Patriots Daily Podcast, powered, as always, by our good friends over at Prize Picks. We are back into game week mode. It is Wednesday. Patriots got off the practice field a little while ago. Drake Maye spoke this afternoon. Mike Vrabel spoke this morning. A lot of stuff going on down in Foxboro, including an injury report, the first one of the week coming out. So we will talk about that off the top here. But the other reason you're here is for the good stuff. The film, Drake Maye's performance against the Bills, the 22 of 30 performance for 273 yards, 101 quarterback rating, all that good stuff. We got it all here. We're going to break down a couple segments on that. Taylor's got the film, so we're going to have him break it all down for us. We're also going to run through a quick rookie report at the end as well, as these building blocks continue to put together some impressive games for these Patriots. But first, like I said, talk about the injury report today. Did not practice Jalen Hawkins or Keon White with a hamstring and an elbow, respectively. Limited Christian Barmore again, continuing to ramp himself up. Caleb Chason limited with a knee injury. Joshua Farmer with an ankle. Anthony Jennings with an ankle. Milton Williams with an ankle. And then Marte Mapu, Mike Onwenu, full participants. So not much worry there. But Keon down with the elbow, and Jalen Hawkins, the big one with the hamstring. Those hamstrings are tricky. That Hawkins one, sounds pretty unfortunate to me. But what was your take on the report, and then also just your take overall from the vibes in Foxboro after the Patriots are here sitting on a 2-game win streak?
Positive vibes.
Yeah.
Locker room, very, very good energy. I had a interview today with Kairos Tonga.
Nice.
One of my favorite interviews I've ever done. I think we just have a streak of interviewing some really interesting people.
Yeah.
So that's going to drop soon. That was a blast. But yeah, it was a lot of positive energy, which is obviously not a nice change of pace for this season. I think it's been very different, obviously, with Vrabel and all the new things around. But yeah, with the injury report relative to that. So Joshua Farmer and Anthony Jennings were new to the injury report, so those will be a couple ones to monitor. Joshua Farmer has been a regular rotational player, specifically as a run defender, so that's pretty significant. And obviously, Anthony Jennings and Keon White both being on the injury report isn't the best thing in the world. But Marte Mapu and Mike Onwenu remain full participants. That's at least good. Jalen Hawkins with the hamstring, he played last week, so it feels like they were really, and he's also a veteran. So maybe, they're trying to just very much take it easy and not give him too much during the week so that he can play this weekend. Caleb Chason being limited after not playing. I think he was already limited at the end of the week, but still, I would hope that's a step in the positive direction because, like I said last week, the edges weren't bad necessarily, although Keon White had some tough moments. But I do think the Caleb Chason is by far the best player on that. What usually is the left edge spot, they go up against the left tackles most frequently. So, like Anthony Jennings is more of a run defender. You don't really want him going up against the left tackle where they're already proficient pass protectors, although Anthony Jennings is pretty good at denting the pocket. So, anything else that jumps out to me? That's pretty much it. And then Milton Williams played pretty well. I don't think he clearly wasn't at 100%. He wasn't quite as impactful as he typically is, but still did make some plays. And Christian Barmore, nothing to worry about. That's just been what it's been, not injury related.
A good answer media-wise today from Stefon Diggs talking about how a bigger test than last week. We
said something like that it was also a very big test because you got to make sure that you stay on track. But I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. That was what I was going to get to. Just was that I liked that answer. We're not gonna get too high. We're not gonna get too low. Yes, we're on a win streak. Yes, we just beat the best team in the AFC, and we're going to the building for a Saints team that nobody really expects much of. They're one of the worst teams in football. They got their first win last week. And that's kind of what makes it a big test. So at least, it's good to hear it from them, from the horse's mouth, if you will, that, they understand it. They're not going to get too high on themselves. But also good to hear, like you said, I wasn't down there today. So some good vibes in Foxboro after running through a 2-game win streak here. All right, but let's get to it. Let's get to the real good stuff. Like we said, we have film for you guys on Drake Maye. So we're going to break down a couple throws from Maye to each of his 3 top receivers. First one is going to be Keon Booty. So 2 plays from Booty here. Booty did have 3 catches for 43 yards. The big one being that hole shot on that game-winning drive the Patriots put together. But Taylor, you have 3 plays to break down for us. What do you got? What do you got? And what did you see from the Maye to Booty connection on Sunday night?
Yeah, and we all talked about the Stefon Diggs connection specifically, and for good reason. That was a fantastic performance from Stefon Diggs
100%.
that really stood out from any of the other receivers. But we've also seen Drake Maye flash the chemistry with Keon Booty, kind of flash the chemistry with Hunter Henry. This was, I think, the first game that all three of those guys really showed up, not only in critical moments, but also downfield in some pretty tough catch situations. And I think from the receiving core was probably one of their most well-rounded performances, because what did Mike Vrabel, or was it Josh McDaniels? Somebody highlighted last week how they had a different leader in receiving yards every.
Yeah, it was Josh.
Yeah, it was Josh. I'm not even going to try to remember who it was. Actually, no, I will try. The first week it was. Oh my gosh, I'm already ready. Who was it? Yeah, who was it?
I think it was Hunter.
Was it Hunter the first week? Okay, so Hunter, Ramondre, and then it was Kayshawn the first week. Okay, I got it.
Kayshawn was week 1?
Yes, it was Kayshawn, Ramondre, Hunter, Diggs, and then it was Diggs again. Okay. That was going to bug the hell out of me. I'm so sorry that you all had to watch how my brain works. But this was the first time where it really felt like everybody was not just pitching in, but making some big impact plays. So we're going to start, like you said, with Keon Booty, who really showed up specifically on the perimeter.
Hey Taylor, I will say too, I like the new look, how you kept the scoreboard and the down and distance and everything cropped in. That was a good little addition.
It is different. I want to hear what people think about it. On Twitter, the way I have to edit certain things is kind of funky, and I think the screen's a little bit smaller, but especially for our viewers who may not have the best sight, I do want to know what you guys think of this, because obviously we are catering to you. But first, I'm going to run this play. This is obviously in the first quarter. This is a 3rd and 8. Keon Booty going to run a curl, catch it just short of the sticks, but then make a great effort to reach out and get the first down. So what I really want to highlight here is the anticipation from Drake Maye and how early he lets this thing go. We talked about that last night. And when you see this 2-back formation from the Patriots, it usually means they're trying to push the ball downfield, because Ramondre and Travion are typically going to help out the edges. One reason the offensive tackles have looked very good in pass pro is because Josh has done a great job giving them help and not just leaving them on an island against these very good pass rushers. So to start off, you see the Bills trying to disguise late rotation there, but we're not going to look at the whole field, because these are ISO routes. You have Keon Booty to the top of the screen by himself. Like I said, he's going to be running a curl at the sticks, but like a smart receiver, he's going to come back to the ball a bit to make sure the defender can't get a hand on it. And he is in one-on-one coverage. You got a deep single field safety, so Drake knows he's got a one-on-one matchup. He likes to exploit those, especially to Keon Booty. Now you get Keon Booty ducking under the press, working, hitting that stop there, comes back just enough, understands he hasn't quite hit the sticks yet, and then, like I said, reaches out. But look how early Drake actually lets this thing go before Keyshawn's actually out of his route. So 1, 2, 3. Loads up to throw. Keyshawn hasn't even started to break down yet. Now he does. I think he kind of peeked back at the quarterback and saw that. And then the savvy from both of those guys. For Drake to let that thing go well earlier than he actually needed to, and for Keyshawn to make sure that he got the first down on 3rd down.
Yeah, it was good stuff. I like like you said, the anticipation, the way Booty comes and he runs right back down his route too. Drake knows exactly where he's going to be. And I feel like some people said that they hoped Booty was going to get to the sticks there. I think
he actually does break at the sticks.
He breaks at the sticks, so he's a little bit short, but the way Drake puts it on his back shoulder gives him a chance to also let it get upfield and do exactly what he did, which is still get the first down. So I didn't have that much of an issue with that.
No, not at all. And also, like you just said, to put it on the back shoulder when the corner's leverage is inside. Right. I gave Drake a little bit of flack a couple weeks ago because he threw a curl with inside leverage from the defender, and he threw it there and it got deflected. And those are the ones where you never know if that ends up getting bounced up, somebody can intercept it. Those things are tricky, and small details like that matter. But great job by you pointing that out to put it on Keyshawn's back shoulder away from coverage.
And then again, a great second effort there. I saw people. I saw an edit of the stretched out basketball from Michael Jordan in what's the Looney Tunes movie? I don't Space Jam. When he's going to dunk it, it looks exactly like that. But no, great stuff, great effort from Booty, and you see the connection there right on his back shoulder, gets the first down.
Yes, sir. And on this next play, it's going to be a first down. This was, I think, Drake's first attempt of the third quarter, or it was one of the early ones, but this was a drive where they got aggressive. You could tell they came out and they were like, we can't just dink and dunk. We want to make a statement and put this ball in the end zone. So they came out in a lot of these 2-back sets and tried to go vertical. This is going to be another curl from Keon Booty, but it's going to be deeper downfield, and just the ease with which Drake Maye makes this throw deep downfield on the sideline. Perfect throw right in his receiver's breadbasket along the sidelines. Keyshawn gets some love from Nathan Chisholm. So another one-on-one concept, like I said, from a split back look with Keon Booty isolated. He's going to be running this deep curl, but this time, instead of getting man-to-man coverage, he's actually going to get a single high cover 3 zone from the Bills. So the corner to Keyshawn's side is actually going to bail, and then you're going to have the safety to his side dropping down to take anything over the middle, which would probably be Hunter Henry, and then you're going to have the safety away in the deep center. So once again, Drake Maye knows he's got a one-on-one matchup, gets the snap. Keon Booty does a good job to try to work into the corner's blind spot to kind of throw him off and so the corner loses sight of him. Drake Maye, as he's breaking, is going to let this thing go. Keyshawn coming back to the ball and then protecting it also when the corner tries to punch that one out. But I know this kind of may look run-of-the-mill, but this is a deep throw along the sideline.
No, that's an impressive connection. Yeah.
Right. Like, these are throws that some quarterbacks, it looks like they're putting all of their effort into these throws, but Drake very effortlessly with the hitch, let that thing go, flies to Keon Booty, but also with nice touch, right? He's not firing it in there like a missile. He's doing it with a nice level, nice catchable ball, but also with enough velocity to potentially beat coverage if the corner was to come down on this.
I was going to say, kind of like how you ended it there. Like, frankly, don't have a ton to add to this one, besides the fact that it's a 15 to 17 yard curl route. Booty runs it perfectly. Drake knows exactly when it's going to break at the same time. Booty, like you said, leverages that defender where he can get behind him and still have enough separation for Drake to put it on him. Booty's been so impressive as a route runner this year, just as somebody who, I know we've talked about the Diggs connection, like you said, but what him and Drake have together is solid as well. And he's really turned into a great number 2 for this team. So super impressed by Keyshawn. Again, awesome to kind of come back on his route like that. Give Drake plenty of room that he didn't really need because he puts it right on his chest. But it's just a great play from these two guys. But we want to get to the good stuff, which is this whole shot that iced the game for the Patriots. So let's go to the next one and break it down here.
Yes, sir. So just let this one wrap. Again, love the fire from Nathan Chisholm. He's not complacent on the sidelines, but
hey, I saw Chisholm's wearing 12 today too, because he's who's is that Olave, right?
It is Olave, yeah.
That was so good. It's funny they gotta probably dig deep to find those number 12 practice jerseys in Foxboro.
Brian was going to try to stir something up, but he decided against it, which I thought was a very smart move by him. All right, so this time you get a slightly different formation from the Patriots. This is obviously from the final drive for their offense of the game. You're going to get an isolated Hunter Henry at the bottom and Keon Booty at the top with 3 wide receivers. So let's let this one run. So he's got a soft jam, but Drake identifies that this is cover 2, a different coverage than they got in the other times, adjusts his throw while he's about to take a hit and delivers an absolute dime. So breaking down the concept, this was a stick play that the Patriots actually ran 4 different times. First couple times didn't work out that well. The second time was when Stefon Diggs, who at that point was at this position right here, caught it, made Taylor Rapp miss, and broke off an explosive gain. And I actually asked Drake Maye today about Josh McDaniels' willingness to go back and repeat play calls, because I think there were like 4 different concepts that they called at least 2 times in this game. And he said it's something he's used to in college, but he likes it because he'll get different presentations, and then that's why you practice it, so there's different kind of elements that you can hit. He had never hit this vertical from Keon Booty in this progression. He tried to hit Travion Henderson out of the backfield, and I think he tried to hit Stefon Diggs a couple times. Actually, I think he scrambled the first time. That was in the red zone early in the game. But anyway, this time he's going to hit the vertical. And the Bills, all right, so first we saw single man-to-man coverage with 1 high safety. Then we saw cover 3. So it wasn't press. It was basically that defender bailing. This time you've actually got a defender who's trying to cover Keon Booty over the top, and you have a cornerback underneath who can take anything if, Keon is just running a short route. So ball is snapped. You're going to see that Keon slips past this corner, and then you see, I think Drake's identifying the corner's looking at him. This is not man coverage, and I think, let's see what he does when he takes the ball. He sees this 2 high safety shell. They don't even try to disguise it. This was one of the few times the Bills didn't really do anything to try to change up the picture on Drake. So kind of easy for him. Okay, they're staying too high. Now look to the sideline. All right, the corner's looking at me. There's going to be a spot to hit right between these 2 guys in what's obviously known as the honey hole or a hole shot. And Drake, with the defender bearing down on him because of an unsuccessful pickup on a twist, we'll break that down after, unfazed by it. I thought, honestly, in the press box live, I was like, oh, this is going to be bad. I thought it might be a strip attack. But good release to get it out right on time and squeeze this between the two defenders in a huge leverage situation to get the Patriots past midfield. Great adjustment by Keon Booty as well to settle down to the pass, make the catch, protect himself, and get down. That was a really impressive connection from Drake Maye. Also want to break it down from the end zone angle as well. So to the left side of the offensive line, it looks like they're in a man blocking scheme, which is why their Bills are trying to run a twist, right? You're basically trying to create confusion because ideally they are just blocking one single defender, and you're going to get a twist with the defensive tackle going outside and the edge defender running inside. Now take the snap. Jared Wilson initially blocks defensive tackle. Will Campbell recognizes very quickly that this is a twist. Jared, who did have a very good game, especially when he was one-on-one, but did have a couple lapses in pass pro, is late to notice it, tries to pick it up, is not able to. So Drake Maye takes a shot.
Crazy.
But again, an absolute dot in that weak spot between the deep safety and that cloud defender. One of the best throws I've seen from Drake Maye in his career.
The best part about it, maybe not the best part, but the one thing I'll add, and I talked about it last time with Booty, is Booty recognizes the coverage too and sits in that spot for him. It doesn't just run it past and doesn't run himself into that safety. He knows that Drake needs to hit him. As soon as he passes him, he has eyes on Drake. Like, no, this is our shot. This is us right now. He doesn't keep going. Again, he makes the sort of, if you watch his head, right there, he turns immediately because he knows that guy's going to sit. This is where we need the ball. This is where we need to get to, and puts them in field goal range. A great game from Drake, but obviously by Booty.
Caden Wiles is pretty fired up on the sideline, too. I think it's Tommy DeVito next to him. Oh, Ben Brown, of course. Ben Brown's always fired up. That was a really fun one. So, that's going to do it for the Keon Booty connection. But, again, we always talk about specifically Stefon Diggs. Always. It's been a few days. We talk about Stefon Diggs in that game, but really Keon Booty as a reliable guy on the outside who is savvy, who's played the game, obviously not in the pros a ton, but he's played quite a bit of football in his life. And you can really see that he and Drake Maye are able to be on the same page. And for Drake to throw with that much anticipation on the first throw, and then also for Keon to pay it off when they finally get a two deep look, and Drake is just trying to squeeze that one in to make a big play again in a 2-minute situation where we talked about in the past. He's been very inconsistent and hadn't shown that he could do it in a live game in a very hostile environment. Keon Booty was a big part of that comeback drive.
100%. All right, let's move on to our guy Hunter Henry. Four targets in this one, hauls in 2 passes. One of those targets, unfortunately, that one on the goal line towards the end of the second half, couldn't get it done. But we're not going to focus on that. This is the good stuff from Drake Maye. And Hunter had 2 long completions in this one. One for 24, the other one for 22 yards. So we're going to break them both down here for you guys. One is one angle. The second one has the L22 as well as the end zone. So what do you got from Hunter Henry? What'd you see?
Yes, sir. So this was actually a play they ran a couple of times. Drake Maye acknowledged that he probably should have thrown to Hunter the first time, but he actually wound up checking it down to Travion Henderson instead. What we're going to be getting is a max protection scheme where you're going to get just 2 downfield routes and then basically chips that turn into checkdowns, and great touch from Drake Maye to Hunter Henry over the middle of the field. Nice job, Hunter Henry, going up to get it. So you get this shift from Jack Westover that creates a 2-by-2 formation. So an even look. Basically, the Bills just bump over, not a dramatic change in the look for them. But what you are going to see is Mac Hollins, who's very good when he's given space to run. Like if he can get his stride going, he eats up ground pretty quickly. He's going to be running the clear out in what's called a Yankee concept, where basically his job is to clear out coverage. Sometimes this will be an alert versus some looks. An alert means that if you like what you see, you can basically take the top off the defense if you see the opportunity. Not going to happen here. Instead, he is going to go to Hunter Henry on what looks like a crossing route. Might be some kind of, dig where he just converts it. I'm not exactly sure. To me, it looked like a crosser. And then with the tight ends and the running back, Travion Henderson, you're going to get them helping out with pass protection before leaking out to give Drake Maye some short options in case nothing develops downfield. And then the Bills are showing a one high coverage that might be some kind of a man coverage because they look like they're about to press the wide receivers, but it also looks a little funky at the depth at which these linebackers are playing. So you might think something's up, and it's because this defender is going to drop out into a cover 2 defense. So post snap, all right, you see the bail. Drake Maye comes off the run fake. Now, when he sets, I think he's prioritizing trying to make sure that no one is able to drift upfield, especially this corner right here, this cloud corner, can't just keep drifting upfield and get underneath Hunter Henry's route to make a play. So what he's going to do, and you see that right there, he gets back, kind of positions his body to the flat to Jack Westover. His eyes and his hips are both pointed short. That gets Trey White to kind of feel conflict, right? He starts drifting, and then he's like, I'm going to pass this off. You see his hand
in the air.
Yep. He's like, all right, there's probably something behind me. Go, somebody else pick that up. Drake Maye got a hitch and then put this ball over the linebacker with really nice touch. And again, got to give Hunter Henry some love for going up to get this. He knows that's a big body. Put it on the top shelf, young man. The veteran goes up to get it for a huge play during the 2-minute drill. Obviously, couldn't exactly put it away, but a really impressive effort from Drake Maye and from Hunter Henry getting this done, as well as the pass protection to give Drake Maye the time for this route to develop, because obviously this is a veteran tight end going down the seam. It's not Kyle Williams, or over the middle. It's not Kyle Williams.
Right. And it's one thing, too, that touch throw, when it first came up during the game, you couldn't really tell, like, that he just lofted it right over those backers. So I thought it was just a nasty catch from Henry because it kind of looked like he skied it for a second. And then when you watch it from this angle, it's like, oh no, he puts it right in that slot just over the backers' heads. And to do it from, 10, 20, 25 yards away, like it's one thing to throw like a nice touch route on like an out route at 5 to 10 yards, but to be able to layer that thing in there is just, super impressive. And it's one of those, not necessarily just arm strengths, but arm talent that Drake has that can really put him to the next level of quarterback, and his ability to put that in there, lay it right in there for him, and give Henry the chance to get down and make a big play. So great stuff all around from both those guys.
100%. I also just loved how they used these 3 tight end sets. Jack Westover is technically a fullback. I think he's a tight end because he lines up all over the place, and it's his natural position. But usually he lined up at fullback, but it looks like this, you would see him as more on the wing, nobody in the backfield, just one running back. It was to create specifically mismatches against the Bills' base defenses. You saw this play 2 times, as I said earlier. And also on the pick play they tried to run to Hunter Henry, it was the same thing where they came out in 3 tight ends. Hunter Henry actually started in the backfield and motioned out. And it was a really well-designed play. Matt Milano just knew, hey, I'm going to interfere with this. And if I get flagged, it doesn't really make a difference. So yeah, good play by Hunter Henry there, but it wasn't his most impressive catch of the day. That actually came in the beginning of the 4th quarter on this absolute missile down the seam from Drake Maye. That is not a conventional throw. Like, this is, I think, Drake Maye just being a baller, because this is going to be a dagger concept. Let me just let that run through. Sorry. But this is going to be a dagger concept where typically you're not really throwing the seam route. You're trying to throw to that dig, but it's a late progression from Drake Maye. So I think that, again, he just kind of went into playmaker mode and did what he had to do here. So once again, getting one of these split back looks, but instead of Keon Booty at the top, we get Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams, ironically, didn't get targeted in this game, but was on the field for like 4 or 5 of their huge plays. And also I thought and I'll talk about him later. Let me not get carried away. But again, Kyle Williams at the top is the isolated receiver. Then you got Mac Hollins. I have a diagram. I don't know why I'm doing it this early. Mac Hollins running a dig route. So he's the primary read, but you end up seeing it go to Hunter Henry down the seam, with also Kyle Williams running this deep route to kind of clear out coverage. And then each of the backs is going to chip, help out their tackles, and then leak out into the flat. The Bills here are going to be running split field coverage. So to this side, they're going to be running cover 3. But to this side, you also see some man coverage from these guys. Or I'm sorry, they run quarters to the bottom of the screen. This actually confused me when I was looking at it on tape. I had to ask Brian for help. But it looks like to this side, it's man coverage with 1 deep safety, and then you're going to get quarters on the bottom. But still, the linebacker is going to be trying to take away the deep middle, because it's also a good play, an aggressive play on first down, because this isn't Tampa where the linebacker is in a deep hole. So he's basically acting as a safety. This is one where he's a bit more shallow, but still, I think he gets good depth on the route. So post snap, you see, all right, now it's a 2-high shell. Drake knows the defense. I think initially he actually wants to go to Kyle Williams, as a matter of fact, because when he takes the ball, he initially looks right. But because this safety bails, he takes away that deep option, because if Drake throws that, it's got to be another hole shot, or you might end up putting this into a bad window. But if it's split field and you have this dagger concept, that's a much better play. And as I've tweeted about a few times, Drake Maye's ability to process these shifts in coverage, leverage, space, know where he's got to go, and then deliver good throws is just off the charts for a guy who's as young as he is in his 2nd season. So once again, Drake Maye starts to the right, realizes that's not there, and then kind of feels a little bit of pressure. I'm not sure if he drifts. I guess he kind of drifts into it, but he sees he's got space to the left, resets into that space, sees that Hunter Henry is actually uncovered. He's gotten over the linebacker. He's right in front of these safeties, fires this missile over the linebacker between those two deep coverage players, and Hunter Henry shielding them out, making a tough catch, takes a hit, maybe a couple hits there, and still is able to hang on to the ball. And you can also see the end zone angle on this one. It might give you an even better picture. So Drake starting right, doesn't really like it, kind of gets some push on the right side, but you got plenty of space to the left, just resets so you can get a good base. And his body is actually kind of tilted towards the left, even though he throws this straight down the pipe. So, like, look where his body's set up.
Yeah.
It's really more pointing middle, kind of leaning left, and the ball comes out in a completely different space. That puts the coverage linebacker specifically in a difficult spot because he is basically lined up with where Drake Maye is. Maybe he just has to cycle over a bit. He's not expecting this ball to come out all the way over here. So Drake Maye,
such a good play.
identifying the coverage, making the adjustment, sliding into space, and then actually kind of using his body to help create even better window for Hunter Henry over the middle, and then just ripping it to beat the coverage. Another high-level play from the second-year quarterback.
The end zone angle and you guys can't see my face, but I'm like smiling about like how cool the play it was. Just like, again, he moves off that safety, dropping into like that, that half field look. So he knows that he's going to have the seam route down the middle, but at the same time, he doesn't throw to the dagger for Matt Collins right away. He wants to hit Henry in that spot. Henry has a guy on top of him, so they both understand, I'm going to bend this over a bit. You're going to hit me right here. It just shows that the connection they've developed to be able to still run the play. This wasn't like a fully off scheduled concept, but he adjusts just a bit. He puts it on Henry by that linebacker right in that little bubble where that safety's over the top of Henry. And it's a great play. It's a great connection. And that, again, we saw it from the end zone angle, but you can just see how it develops between those guys. Really solid connection, impressive stuff by Drake, obviously, but also for Henry to kind of bend it in that soft spot in the defense too.
100%. Also, Kyle Williams' time is coming, man. Like, you can see the vertical speed to separate from this guy.
Yeah.
There's a safety over the top of him, but in another situation, if that's single high, you can absolutely put some air under that, let him run under it, score a touchdown. But that is not his day. That's all I got for Hunter Henry. But yeah, I mean, so you got Keon Booty outside. You got Hunter Henry just eating over the middle, sometimes a little bit further outside when you got those crossing routes that take a while to develop. And then, as we're going to get to, Stefon Diggs being a guy who can be a problem in different parts, both outside and inside.
Let's do it. We'll get right into Diggs right here, right now, because we talked about him a lot yesterday. 10 catches for 146. A lot of yak ability showed a lot of yak ability in this one. The connection with Drake, obviously, I keep coming back to that word connection, but he's really building like a rapport with all of these guys, right place, right time, running the offense effectively. And Stefon Diggs was the perfect example of that on Sunday. So we got 4 plays from Diggs to break down for you, starting with the completion to Diggs on a corner route here.
Yes, sir. All right, let me put this on the screen.
There we go.
All right, yep. So this is a route that actually these two had a miscommunication on. I believe it was in Miami where they weren't able to connect. Nice to see them do it here. Not Drake's best throw on the day, but really great adjustment by Stefon Diggs. Yeah. Still a good throw from Drake Maye against the disguised coverage. So first, of course, you're going to get Demario Douglas starting as the number 1 to the right side. He's going to shift into the backfield to create another one of those split back looks. Drake Maye is going to fake to him, kind of go behind, and Pop's going to run, end up in the flat. You're going to get Travion Henderson chipping and creating another short area target. You're going to see the effect that has on the coverage and how that's going to help open up Stefon Diggs' burst corner route, as well as, of course, another Kyle Williams play. He's on the field running another vertical to help clear out the deep coverage. So let's let this one run. And then from the Bills, they just ran this so much. They either tried to make it look like single high man or some kind of single high coverage, usually with the corners pressed. And then that press coverage, instead of man coverage, would become cloud coverage. And you'd get one of these safeties, usually to the field, bailing out into the deep half. That's exactly what you're going to get here. And basically, the difference here, it's not, I guess it is pretty significant. If it's man coverage, then Diggs pretty much has this entire sideline to work with, right? Because everybody's in man. So if he's clearing it out, he's not going to be looking at Diggs. And this safety would be in the middle of the field, almost a complete non-factor if you're trying to throw this. But if you're playing cover 2, once again, you're going to have to fit this between this underneath corner and in front of, that deep safety. I think that may be why the throw comes out a little funky, where he's like trying not to lead. I'm not totally sure. It might just have not been the most accurate throw, but either way, becomes a completion, and Diggs does a really good job to adjust to the throw. So a fake from Drake Maye, hits top of his drop. Now Stefon Diggs breaking into space, starts to kind of settle down. You see him throttle a little bit here.
Yeah.
Kind of throttle down just a bit because he knows he's in avoiding coverage. Drake Maye, low throw, a little bit behind, but great job by Stefon Diggs. To honestly, I wonder if he could have fit this into Kyle Williams, if I'm being totally honest. I don't mind him throwing to Diggs, but there is pretty significant space to the side.
Oh, yeah, he could put that on a little back shoulder right there.
I think he could, but hey, he's trying to get Diggs' production, His Diggs return home. You got to get him the catch. I'm just kidding. Exactly. I do not think that's part of Drake Maye's thought process.
And if he didn't get it, he would have been pissed, right? He would have been pissed the whole time. I didn't get my catches.
But again, not the best throw in the world, but it is a good read from Drake Maye. An improvement on a throw that they weren't able to connect on earlier this season. So a positive from them. Also love the design from Josh McDaniels to have this kind of orbit thing from Demario Douglas and have him as like the very, very shallow option. Then Travion Henderson is another shallow option, and how that gets both of these underneath defenders to kind of hesitate and like, do I get depth? Do I not? And then Stefon Diggs, plenty of space.
And that safety's closing in on Diggs too. So it was actually smart of Drake to not kind of lead him and let him out there, because again, he probably would have just had a cut off, whether he makes a pass breakup, whether he just really even gets in front of it, because if he put it out towards the sideline, he's probably leading him upfield a little bit too. So again, it doesn't look like the best throw, like at first glance, but I mean, really for the both of them to understand where the soft spot in that coverage is, Diggs throttles down and catches the ball underneath him. So yeah, good stuff there.
Yes, sir. All right, the next throw we've got on the docket is, as I check the breakdown because my memory is terrible, the deep scramble completion. All right, let's go, baby. One of the money plays. All right, short motion from Stefon Diggs. Gonna run what looks like, I thought it was a blaze out at first, but I think he's just trying to get the corner to bite. Drake Maye gets out of the pocket because he's got a soft edge. Stefon Diggs does a great job adjusting quickly to the play. Wow, that went really fast. I couldn't get all my explanation in, but it's okay because we got the replay. So again, you get Stefon Diggs in short motion. He runs this so deep, I couldn't actually put the route in. But again, this is going to be an outbreaking route where he gives Trey White a little bit of an inside move because Trey White has outside leverage. He's basically already beating the route. And then once again, Mr. Kyle Williams is actually going to get open on a deep dig route. And the Bills, another big surprise, are in a disguise coverage, but this one's pretty nifty because they're actually going to send a corner and linebacker on an overload blitz to the left side. Then they're going to have the safety to this side basically go over in cloud just in case Drake decides to throw it outside. And then this defender right here is going to bail. That is a safety. I don't know which safety that is. Anyway, that's Rapp. So Rapp is going to bail into the deep middle, and Trey White is going to go into a deep third on his side. But what is very important about this play is the fact that the right edge is actually going to bail into coverage when you are in a formation with two tight ends on the right side. Typically, this is a formation where the Patriots like to run right downhill on their duo runs. But actually, in this play, they're both going to be in pass protection with no one to block. So you can literally see once this guy drops, they're like, okay, wait, what am I supposed to do now? I have nothing. And then the corner kind of gets around Will Campbell just a bit, and I'm not sure if it's that Drake feels something right here. Travion Henderson also doesn't do a great job on this block. Like, you like to have him use his hands on this rep so you can really control the blocker, because all he does is thump him, but he gives up the inside lane. So whether Drake Maye feels the pressure or it's literally just like, oh, okay, you're going to give me this entire right side to work with no one threatening me when I'm dangerous rolling white, right? I'm sorry. You're silly, and I'm going to make you pay. So he rolls out. Then you see him signal to Diggs at some point. Where is it? My eyes are really bad. So at this point, you see him signal to Diggs to get upfield because the defender's coming downhill with him, but there's no space behind the defender, and this safety is going to have to go all the way to the sideline. So Drake Maye bailing out, tells the receiver to get upfield. Great job by Diggs. He kind of peeks also right here. He peeks at the defender's leverage, says, okay, he's outside. Let me turn upfield inside, gets the top, goes back to the sideline because he knows that's where Drake Maye's working. Because if he goes inside toward the middle, that's not helping anybody. He's working deep towards the sideline to give Drake Maye an area to work while he's rushing. Then Drake puts it over the defender who tries to get a hand on it in front of him. Stefon Diggs tracks it down and makes a great catch, contested along the sideline while getting both feet in. I know Drake Maye mentioned today that it's so nice having a veteran like Stefon Diggs who just is so crafty. He knows what to do. He catches everything so savvy. And this is one of those examples where not every receiver catches this, maybe. Stefon Diggs does. And then the celebration he did the entire game. I got to ask him what it is. I don't know what it is. I feel very unhip, but I love it. And then we're going to get one more shot from the end zone angle to see just how beautiful this one was. So Drake Maye, seeing the soft edge to the right, is going to bail out of the pocket, direct Diggs to get upfield. 94 is in his face, tries to get his hands up, but this one's going deep, son. You're not touching this. Stefon Diggs with an absolute beauty. Both hands on the ball, catches it, tucks it into his body, and then to get the 1 foot down, drag that second foot like this. Like, to get that down and make sure it drags. He's not taking an exaggerated step like some young players might do just because it might feel more comfortable. He knows I need to make sure both these feet are down. Also, the leg, or the shin is down. I believe inbounds just barely, so that also makes it an absolute catch. And then to roll over as well, so he's not falling on the ball. No chance of this bobbling and falling out of his hands. Nope. Get your back there. Great play from those two.
So many examples of his veteran savviness on this play. Like, obviously, to have a veteran who understands a scramble drill enough to do that, break to the sideline with Drake and make a move on the guy, but then not like go elsewhere. He works right with him towards the sideline. They kind of struggled with that a little bit last year, trying to have guys scramble and splatter, what have you, and help your quarterback. But right there, bang, Diggs obviously makes it happen. And then you already said it, so I won't go over it again. But his awareness on the sideline to get his feet down, roll over the ball, etc., is just perfect stuff. So it goes to show that, again, he's the wide receiver one this team needs because he runs the offense well, he understands it, but he just understands the game of football in general to be able to make plays like that. So, again, another great play that was one that really changed the course of this game.
Also another play where look who's also wide open.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, there's the scramble element of it, but like you're telling me that anybody in this box is going to get that much depth on this if Drake doesn't have to leave the pocket or chooses. I mean, he probably had to leave the pocket because of the cornerback pressure eventually. But again, also a nice rep from Kyle Williams, just multiple where you could see where the ability is there and then celebrating with the veteran. So that was very cool.
Yep.
All right, this time we're getting another scramble completion. This is intermediate, not deep, but I would argue an almost more impressive catch from Diggs because we get a little bit of toe drag swag. Also another play where Kyle Williams is showing vertical separation. Also have Demario Douglas wide open, but Drake has to leave the pocket, and we're going to break down why eventually, but great toe drag swag there from Stefon Diggs. So Pop is going to motion into, it's a stack. You could also call this kind of a dirty bunch because they're not very close together, but they're in the same vicinity inside the numbers. It kind of depends on who you want to ask. But we're going to get Kyle Williams as the number 2 in the slot and on the line of scrimmage, running a vertical route where that's a different coverage. Maybe you can throw this, but I don't mind the decision here based on what happens. Demario Douglas running a crosser. Again, he gets wide open. Hunter Henry is going to chip on the edge and then leak out. And then Stefon Diggs looks like he's actually going to try to be running a back shoulder fade. But I don't think he's part of the initial progression because you see when Drake Maye takes the snap, he's actually going to start towards his left before getting pressured. And the reason he gets pressured is because the Bills are in a too high man structure. They love their cover 2 man. So all the cornerbacks are going to be playing with underneath leverage inside, and then they're going to get deep help from the safeties. But you're also going to get the linebacker over Ramondre Stevenson blitzing because Ramondre's in this sniffer position where you know his main priority is going to be picking up a blitz. So, hey, you know, if you're not – you have the decision if you want to bail into coverage and create more, coverage in the middle, or if you want to rush, he's going to rush in this instance. But you're also going to get a coffee house stunt from the linebacker over Garrett Bradbury. What's a coffee house stunt? That's a silly name. What does it mean? I don't know what it means, to be honest, in terms of why it's called that, but I do know that it essentially is when a defender pretends like they're going to bail or go into a different gap. Specifically here, the linebacker is going to pretend like he's dropping into coverage. Then they go on a delayed blitz, which is very hard to pick up because things are moving so fast. If you see somebody drop, you're trying to go and help somebody else, or you're expecting pressure from somewhere else. And you see Bradbury has no idea this is coming, and it creates immediate pressure in the middle for Drake Maye. So he takes the snap, fakes like he's going to drop, and Garrett Bradbury says, and we're going to get into this more in the end zone angle, but Garrett Bradbury slides to help, and dead to rights, Drake Maye is by himself with a defender coming right at him. Great pocket, but you have nowhere to step up. So he says, yeah, F that. I'm getting the hell out of here. Scrambles to his right, And again, like when he takes the snap, he's looking to his left. So I think he's actually going to hit either Demario Douglas, probably. I mean, now he's looking at the linebacker.
Right.
But you get Demario Douglas, and even though this safety's dropping, maybe you squeeze that into Kyle Williams. But either way, you had options here. But he's going to go to the right because he can't just take a hit straight to the face. And then Stefon Diggs is going to notice because he's looking for the back shoulder. He's going to pretend like he's coming back to get the defender to bite, go upfield again when he feels that he hasn't gotten that separation, fights through the coverage, and then does a great job keeping the feet in bounds, and also a really good throw from Drake Maye. He's excellent at these kind of intermediate shots along the sideline, giving his guys an opportunity to make a play on the ball. Now we're going to go to the end zone angle real quick to kind of break this down a little bit better. So again, Garrett Bradbury is like, oh, this guy's clearly dropping. I don't need to care about him. Let me help out my rookie left side. Psych! Coming right down the pipe. Drake Maye bails. See Stefon Diggs making the adjustment. I think he kind of gestures for him to come back there. A little something there.
Yeah.
Puts it on a rope. Stefon Diggs, toe drag mother freaking swag. This is fantastic, man. Like, look at that.
And there's no room for error on Drake's part because Diggs didn't have enough room against the sideline to really make much more of a move on that guy other than to just box him out. So Drake puts it out of bounds. Diggs can keep his feet in, and they can convert the first down. So that was just beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Absolute money play there from Stefon Diggs. But it wasn't his last big play of the game. No, because that would actually come. Well, it's not his last play. But, right. Oh, wait. Are we running? Oh, wait. We're running it again. Sorry. I'm using a new system. But, yeah, here's the play once again if you want to see it. Here he's bailing out and throwing it. And the dime. All right. But yes, it was not his last big catch of the game. That was one of this play actually to start the Patriots 2-minute drive where they tried to get themselves and succeeded in getting themselves into field goal range. This was actually a play they ran the week before. It's a counter bash play that's a triple option where Drake can hand off, keep it himself, or throw the ball downfield. Obviously doesn't go well for reasons that we'll explain, but Drake Maye makes something out of nothing, even though there was no reason this play should have worked at all. So the difference between last week and this week was Ramondre actually motions into the backfield here. So that kind of disguises the look just a little bit, also gives an indicator because when he moves, the corner was already out with him and he doesn't adjust. So you know it's some kind of zone coverage. So for the route purposes, we're going to get kind of a corner here from Hunter Henry, and then we're just going to get a very short out route from Stefon Diggs as kind of the outlet guy. So Drake is going to decide, I'm going to pull this, but it's tough because Garrett Bradbury is almost an impossible block to make, and it creates immediate pressure. Drake Maye stiff arms a defensive tackle, and as he's going to the ground, is able to get this throw off with enough velocity for Stefon Diggs to come back to it, make a man miss, and then turn a very short play into a first down that was much needed to kind of get them in better position. And this is before the 2-minute warning had even started. So this is a great way to start what would eventually be their comeback drive. When you see it from the end zone angle, so this is what is kind of frustrating, and I wonder if they should have checked out of it. They are trying to get a double team here because they're trying to sell like this is a gap run. And ideally, the way it was last week is this defensive tackle, who's in more of like a 4-eye, would ideally be head up over Garrett Bradbury. So all Garrett Bradbury has to do is basically just step and block that guy while Drake is able to go the other direction. And then you have the two athletic rookies, Jared Wilson and Will Campbell, both pulling in case Drake decides that he wants to keep it and run outside. But also it's like a soft pull where they understand I don't know whether actually, to be honest, I'm not sure whether they are told, run. I don't know if Drake screams and they're like, okay, we have access. Because when they pull, they know they can't get downfield too quickly because they've got downfield routes and you don't want to get flagged. Also credit for this being, even though it didn't go well here because of the defender's alignment, the defensive tackle's alignment, specifically, it is still a well-designed play so that nobody got flagged because you have to rep that in practice, especially with so many young players on the field. But yeah, once again, instead of this being the guy that Garrett Bradbury has to block like it was the week before, he has to go out and block a defensive tackle. As you can see, he cannot do that. It's a lot of ground to cover. Defensive tackle gets right underneath him, and Drake Maye is in oh shit mode. But then, dude, his stiff arms,
ridiculous
dude,
to stay up on that.
Before his knee hits the ground with Joey Bosa in his face, gets the ball out. Stefon Diggs, and once again, comes back to it, scoops it up, makes a tackler miss, and then just a little shimmy over there to create a little opening for himself, dives for the conversion. And I think I got it one more time here.
Off the rip, I thought that he was just throwing this away. He had two defenders in his face. He's like, well, I'm living to see another day. I thought he was trying to chuck it out of bounds. But then clearly, when you watch it over again, no, he knew where Diggs was, and he was trying to give him his best chance to make a play. The fact that he's able to put it relatively close to his chest when he's falling down and has two defenders in his face, just filthy.
And even seeing this live, there were so many plays where I was just like, okay, this is going to be really bad. I wasn't sure if he was getting sacked. I was like, oh, he got that out. Oh, it's complete. Oh, Diggs is running. Like,
yeah, right.
This was, I'm sure it was, everybody was feeling the same way live, but like at my angle, I genuinely didn't know what was happening on a lot of these plays. So I was kind of just feeling the emotions with everybody else. But man, that was just a fantastic performance. So obviously, got to Stefon Diggs, the savvy that he brings to help out in scramble drills, but also to do little things like come back to his quarterback, make sure he gets his shin down, his leg down, is keeping them in, to understand how he separates on these scramble drills. And the quarter completion, even the way he's able to adjust to throws that aren't perfect and do it so seamlessly, is very impressive. It's what we were hoping we were going to get. If we knew that he was capable of, I mean, I think we all knew, but the summer, like we've said before, there were some drops. Yep. There were some, things that just made you wonder how exactly this experiment was going to work, even though we all knew that Diggs was a consummate professional and did have all these tools in his toolbox that Josh McDaniels, as a good coordinator, can exploit because he is so experienced and understands the nuances of the game. So Stefon Diggs bringing that in the versatility to be off schedule, on schedule, different alignments. Hunter Henry being a great security blanket at all three levels over the middle of the field, and Keon Booty being a guy that you can rely on in those boundary situations. Like, is he AJ Brown? No, but he's a solid player and he's reliable. And having three of those guys in your receiving unit before we've even gotten a chance to really lean into Demario Douglas, Matt Collins, is just such a great tool, on top of also Austin Hooper, who is working his ass off as a blocker, not getting targeted a ton, but also taking advantage when he gets his opportunities. So it's not just Drake Maye. Obviously, Drake Maye is making a lot of this work, even when it shouldn't. But I feel like we also need to credit the fact that he's got a solid group of pass catchers that he's throwing to that have helped make this machine work.
The supporting cast for Drake has shown up. Josh McDaniels has made it all happen. Now, frankly, I think it's hard to – Josh is doing the right thing, calling the right plays, but like a lot of these too are a lot of off-schedule plays that Drake's making. So once they kind of find that middle ground where – Josh's offense really, really starts to click. And then when it doesn't click, Drake's able to make the plays off schedule as well. Slam dunk here. It looks really good. It looks like a great pairing so far. So awesome stuff from Drake. Awesome stuff from the offense. But Kyle
Williams. Like, the guy was open multiple times and he's not even able to get the ball. So I know people were saying, like, I want to see Kyle Williams more. He's playing a decent amount and he looks good. Also got to credit him. There was a screen that he blocked very well. I love how Kyle Williams blocks. When you look at him, you would think he wouldn't give the effort he does, but he is an absolute dog. So you can be excited for him as all Patriots fans. It's just like the summer. Him not getting the ball is not indicative of his talent. He's got a lot of veterans ahead of him, but still on tape, even though he's not being targeted, it feels like he is making the most of his opportunities.
100%. All right, we're about 50 minutes into this one, but we still got a rookie report to get to.
Yes, we do.
So, we will do that. You know what I will do? We weren't going to do this, but I'll give you an opportunity to clear your head, to take a sip of water, and I will tell our great friends or our great viewers about our friends over at Prize Picks, because as you know, Prize Picks is the presenting sponsor of the Patriots Daily Podcast and the entire CLNS Media Network. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss out on any of the action this football season, where it's good to be right. They have discounted plays pretty much every single day on the Prize Picks app, meaning that passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, they'll go down. They might even end up at half a yard, depending on the kind of giveaways that Prize Picks wants to give you. Long story short, you add those to your lineup and watch the winnings roll in. All you got to do is play at least 2 player stat projections and pick more or less. And if you get your picks right, you can cash in. Again, I mentioned it, but it's the best way to cash in this football season. So if you're interested in joining us on Prize Picks, download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app, use code CLNS, and you will get $50 to use in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, let's rookie report it. We will start with the 4th overall pick in this past year's draft. Will Campbell, the left tackle of this team, the left tackle of the future, because he continues to look damn good. I know we had conversations throughout the offseason. Well, we didn't, but people had conversations. Are you going to move to guard? Are they going to move him around? No, he's the left tackle. He's been the left tackle, and he's been pretty good so far. So what did you see from Campbell on Sunday? We can kind of do these. We don't have film for these for those watching, but we'll kind of go rapid fire. I'll just ask Taylor what he saw from each guy, and then we'll come to a close. So what did you see from Will Campbell on Sunday?
Yeah, Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, I really liked in pass protection when those guys were one-on-one. There was also a couple twists that Will picked up, like I mentioned on the one that Jared wasn't able to. Will identified it very quickly. But his ability to recover, it really shows you what makes him so special. Like, yeah, you see the low lights. And in college, like the bad was very bad in a way that other players didn't necessarily have. But also, like against Bosa, there were times where he would lose initially, and you would see his ability, like the quick feet, the nimbleness, the athleticism, the flexibility to be able to put himself back into position where he's still in front of the quarterback, and even to like get under Bosa's pads and really strain and like flex his body in a way you just like Vidarian Lowe just like physically cannot do a lot of the things you were seeing Will Campbell do. And hey, that's why you draft Will Campbell in 4th overall. And obviously, we had our concerns about the pass protection stuff, but he's doing what I was hoping he would do, which is where you see him mixing up his punches. He'll flash with one hand, two hands. He's kind of varying up his sets. He's aggressive. And there were things that you saw him do in college, but it's like, okay, can this translate to the NFL? Can he do it as consistently as he needs to? And also, how will it look against the truly elite of the elite? Now, Bosa is not what he used to be, but still a quality player who's got a ton of moves in his bag. So very impressive day in pass pro for Will Campbell. That's not the only guy winning against. He also went up against AJ Epinesa, but again, in pass pro, I thought he was very good for the most part. Also, in the run game, he had a solid front side block on outside zone and a good second level block on the toss touchdown where he just got right up there and was able to shield the defender from being able to pursue Ramondre Stevenson. Now, the issues. So in pass protection, he lost late around the edge against Epinesa in the 3rd quarter. He also got pushed back in the 4th quarter. They were late losses, so not the worst things in the world. And it's not even like he really gave up hits, but he lost control near the end of some longer developing plays. Again, I'm not giving him too much flack. He also was thrown off by one of those overload blitzes where he had a corner coming, a linebacker coming, and Joey Bosa going inside. He had no idea what to do for a split second. You can kind of see the moment of panic where he's like, and kind of late he tries to get Bosa, wasn't able to do it. That's a tough look though. So I don't want to give too much flack because it's the NFL. You got to learn. But when you have 3 different people coming at you at once, that's a difficult position for a rookie to be in. So even the bad in pass protection, I didn't think was very bad. More just learning moments, things you can improve on, but nothing egregious. Run blocking, and that's the case for Will Campbell and Jared Wilson. Run blocking was not great. So I mentioned the front side block on outside zone, second level block on the touchdown. Couldn't take over a backside combo from Jared Wilson. He gave up a tackle on a rep of outside zone where he was on the front side, and he's really struggled on downhill blocks. I don't know if it's leverage or what, but it feels like when he's kind of by himself trying to move guys, he just doesn't get a ton of push. So Will Campbell, very good at pass pro. Run game, very much still a work in progress, and that was the same for Jared Wilson. Now, the good, Jared Wilson in pass pro, like remember when Caden was like, that guy's fucking good.
Yeah.
That's why. He is so hard to beat. Like you can get him early, but just like Will Campbell, he's a freak athlete, and his hand strength, also like Will Campbell. I think these are just traits that they want, things that make you kind of easier to lock guys up when you win early, and then when you lose, you're not totally out of position to be able to still salvage the rep. Jared Wilson, I forget who it was, he got his hands in someone's chest, and you saw the guy try to disengage, and Jared was like, nope, you're staying right here. He is strong as hell.
That's strength as a rookie.
And it's so cool to see when he really latches on how people just kind of don't have a choice. It's like, all right, I guess this rep is going to be over for me. And then to just move his body when he is in bad positions to still not even just get in the way. Like with Marcus Bryant, sometimes he literally is just trying to it's a last-ditch effort. But Jared, it feels like he's never out of the rep. Such a rare thing to see for a rookie. So when he's one-on-one in pass pro, an absolute treat to watch. If you don't even like offensive line play, I guarantee if you watch Jared Wilson, you'd be like, oh, this is pretty fun. Yeah. Although respect all line play, it is very fun anyway. But I digress. And in the run game, Jared did have 2 good outside zone blocks in the first quarter with Antonio Gibson. They were both on the same drive. Part of the reason that Antonio Gibson looked so good early on in the game and kind of felt like the best guy they had in the backfield. And he was the first on a climb or he had a good climb and also a pretty good rep on a reach block from the backside. It was the kind of rep you'd want to see from him where he has a disadvantage from his alignment, but he's so explosive. He was able to get out in front and shield the defender. And on those outside zone plays, those are huge. So I'd like to see that more from him. But he was kind of spotty. So in pass protection, obviously he missed the looper on Drake Maye's hole shot. Also got caught off guard by a coffeehouse blitz. But it's like Will Campbell, the loop was a bit disappointing because that's one that he usually picks up. Like I want to see him be more consistent there. The coffee house, I don't know if he's even seen one of those in the NFL yet. I didn't get a chance to talk to him or Garrett Bradbury, but I wanted to ask, like, what do you coach to do against a team that does that? Like, do you wait for a second? Had you even seen that on the tape before? I didn't watch the Bills extensively, but I hadn't seen it. So I'll give him a bit of a pass for that one. He also was still in enough of a position to recover with Garrett Bradbury so that Drake Maye didn't get hit. The run game, he lost 2 reps on the front side of outside zone, no bueno, missed 2 second-level blocks to the front of outside zone, and also couldn't reach a blitzer in time on the front side of duo. It was kind of tough. He was engaged and basically tried to get his body in the way and come off. It was a difficult rep, so that one I was whatever. But the fact that he lost 4 times on the front side of outside zone, that's a reason that this run game has not been very consistent. And Jared has his flashes, but I do wonder if he has the power to consistently be a guard in the NFL. I think at center, it can be covered up, and also his pass pro ability, he is elite. He's already a very good pass protecting guard. So if he can be like that at center, then you are absolutely cooking. Then some of it is just maybe not understanding technical things. I would like to have a conversation with him about this. I was busy talking to Tonga today, but I would just like to see some improvement from Jared Wilson specifically, really in the run game, because I think that's a big reason why they've struggled, especially on the interior. Now, Craig Woodson, the other guy who played pretty much wire to wire in that game. Positives, he stuffed James Cook in the red zone. Also, I want to say this about Craig Woodson. He gets a lot of crap. I keep seeing people say that he's not a good player. This is a 4th rounder who plays wire to wire in almost every single game. And yes, he makes mistakes. And I think actually Mike Vrabel acknowledged, he hasn't been perfect, but he tackles pretty well. He's been consistent for them. So let's back off Craig Woodson a little bit. No, he's not perfect. He's got a long way to go.
I mentioned it the other day on the show too. Pat's Communications brought this up. First rookie since Derwin James in the NFL to have 4 tackles for loss through 5 games. That's, I know it's kind of these stats that come out are a little cherry picked. It's Derwin James. It's tackle for, but that's no, that's good company to be a part of. So shout out to Craig Woodson for that one too.
Absolutely, man. He's doing a solid job. Again, not perfect, but he's been pretty solid. So he stuffed James Cook in the red zone. That was a positive. Downside, he was a step behind Kincaid on that early slant route. To be fair, he chipped someone first and then ended up still being competitive in coverage, but Josh Allen perfectly threw it in front of his target where Craig could make a play on it. So that one I didn't think was very egregious. He did take a bad angle, though, on one of James Cook's cutbacks where he wasn't even able to make a tackle on the play. That could have been better. For the most part, I thought his angles were solid. Didn't always wrap up and make the tackle, but he's consistently around. And in this swarming defense, he does his job to make sure that guys can rally around him. So it was a fine performance from Craig Woodson. TreVeyon Henderson, not great, I thought. He had that explosive carry on the toss where they faked the power. That was where they got the explosive and a touchdown for Ramondre Stevenson. But pass protection, he was late to block on the flea flicker where it was very glaring that it took him a second to even register that there might be a blitzer behind him. And then by the time he realized it was too late and Drake kind of had to bail out, and it contributed to blowing up the play. Also, like we showed in the play, he didn't block on a linebacker blitz, kind of just threw a shoulder and the guy was able to still win inside. Also, as a kick return, he was blocking, I believe, for Ramondre Stevenson, and he actually missed a block in the second quarter. So just need to see TreVeyon Henderson be more consistent. He also had a target, but Drake Maye threw behind him. That's not his fault. But everybody wants to see more TreVeyon Henderson. Reminder, he's still a young player. He is not going to be perfect. It's even though running back is a position that tends to translate in the NFL, whether it's the scheme, whether it's the speed or what have you, Henderson is not a finished product. So you're going to have to be patient with him.
I was going to say that the red shirt year type thing we talked about, he may not be fully cooked. He's not really ready yet, but now he's going to get the opportunity because of where the running back room is. And if he doesn't look that great, I'm not going to be here for he's a bust. Why'd they take this guy? They should have took Judkins. He's getting put in.
Damn, he is good.
He is playing well. He is playing well. But like my point is that he's probably playing before he's ready. He's probably going to be forced into some reps before he's ready. So let's just take our time with old Travion Henderson.
Absolutely. Next, Andy Borregales.
Shout out Andy.
3 for 3 on field goals, including a 52-yard game winner, 2 for 2 on extra points. Have a freaking day, young man. Yep. Awesome to see from him. Kind of living up to that college reputation of he'll struggle early, but then he locks in.
It's the ability to bounce back that's so impressive from him. Like it's so easy for your confidence to go awry when you come into the NFL and you start slow. Like look at Chad Ryland, right? He needed another team, another opportunity to kind of get himself back under him. Andy does it within 5 games, so good stuff.
Glad to see Chad Ryland succeeding also.
Yes.
Elijah Ponder. So hadn't played in a while really because he didn't have a great start to this season, but had some positive plays. He had a spin move to beat a blocker for a tackle on kickoff. That was pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen, I probably had, but it's not very often you see somebody whip out a spin move in the open field, but it worked, and he made the tackle, so that was pretty cool. Pass rush, he got a couple of really good bull rushes against Deion Dawkins, who's one of the best left tackles in the NFL, is the reason that there was one big reason that that's now an award, actually, the Blocker of the Year award. So it was nice to see that. We already know that Elijah Ponder's got the tools, so it was nice to see those flashes. Also wrapped under Deion Dawkins and helped make a shoestring tackle in the run game. Negative, he did let Josh Allen out of the pocket. He kind of got caught trying to go inside, and then Josh took the edge. But I also gave him a half plus for that one because he chased him down, showed that explosiveness, and also showed the effort to not just give up on the play and actually contribute to minimizing the game for Josh Allen. So overall, I thought it was pretty solid stuff from Elijah Ponder. Joshua Farmer, I think overall a positive day for him. He fell on the fumble, obviously. That was a huge play for the team and not something I want to be overlooked because this team has forced several fumbles that they haven't actually recovered. So great job by Joshua Farmer having the awareness to fall on the botched handoff. Also had a couple of run stuffs. Last week he was pretty quiet, but overall this season, he has been a factor in the run game and more good than bad, I would say. So for someone who I wasn't sure how much he'd be involved exactly, I thought Braden Swinson was going to be much more of a factor than Joshua Farmer. Kudos to him, man. Joshua Farmer's the dude who just puts his head down and does his job. We have to talk about the penalty. Mike Vrabel kind of gave him a pass. He said, blow the whistle.
I was surprised.
We said, you don't necessarily have to attack, not attack. I don't want to say it like that, but the way he hit him may not have been necessary, but if he thought it was live, that's fair game. And James Cook was either thinking about it, pretending to pitch the ball back. So what do you want the guy to do?
The part with the whistle makes it relatively acceptable from Vrabel's point of view and from the let's give this guy a pass side. Like blow the damn whistle, he's clearly down. You're playing through the whistle. That's what they teach these guys. The whole rally to the football thing we've talked about, I'm sure that they're just play through the whistle no matter what. Once you hear the whistle, don't be stupid. There was no whistle. So I guess inside the building they give him a pass. I still didn't think it was smart, but you got to blow it. So
yeah. And then last one, Kyle Williams. We already talked about him a lot, but just to summarize, he's showing the vertical speed. He is getting open, albeit sometimes against zone it can be kind of funky, but it still did very much feel like there were some windows that Drake could have hit, even if some of them would have been a little bit more higher difficulty. And also as a run blocker, anytime I see him in a significant run blocking opportunity, he makes me happy. Well, it's not kind of weird, but I like it. I like the effort that he's showing. So this is our second hour-long show in a row.
That's how I was gonna
30-40. So this is different for us, but yeah, Kyle Williams is showing good stuff when he's on the field.
That's how I was just gonna get us out of here and close this thing out. It's that we're running on fumes. Taylor got back from Buffalo. We did 2 shows back to back, and they've gone over an hour. So this is not normal for me and Taylor, but we're getting it done, and we're getting it done for you guys because we had to bring you the Drake Maye film, even if it was on a Wednesday. And shout out Andrew De Silva again for the idea on the rookie report. So we'll try and keep these going throughout the season as well. But today's Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. We are officially turning the page one day later than the Patriots are to the Saints tomorrow. We will have a preview on Patriots versus Saints tomorrow. We will also add a mailbag to the back end of that one as well. So we'll talk about the matchup a little bit for a little while and then answer your Patriots and Patriots versus Saints questions after we do that as well. So that'll be tomorrow at some point. We'll keep it. We'll keep you updated on Twitter, on X, and on here on the channel as well to let you know that one when that will come. So Taylor will ask for those mailbag questions tomorrow. Send them in if you got them. Throw them in the chat as well But long story short, that's going to do it. Oh, no, we got one here.
We got a definition of the coffee house blitz. Thank you, JP. So it's called the coffee house blitz because the defender first appears to drop into coverage before suddenly rushing the quarterback. So they're mirroring the stop and go rhythm of grabbing a cup of coffee or waiting in line for it. That I can't stand football terminology. It's so weirdly specific. It's like I don't even really relate to this.
I was listening to a podcast that Doug Peterson was on the other day, and he was talking about like the length of football play calls and how Andy Reid would have like, this means this means this, but then all of a sudden would just be like, let's just call it ice cream sundae. It's like, so that's just, he just makes it all turn into one term. It's stupid, but it makes it that much easier too, to kind of understand.
Aaron Perkins.
Exactly.
Like, make it like, did you see the video where Matthew Stafford was trying to do the play call?
Yeah.
And McVay wouldn't stop talking in his ear. He's like, you guys are going to believe how long this thing is.
Yeah.
Like, for Matt Stafford, who's been in the NFL for like 12 years to say something like that. Is it been 12 years? Oh my God. How long?
It's been a lot. It's been probably even, it's probably even longer. 2009, I think. 16.
I think, 2009. Jeez Louise. Good for him.
16 years for Stafford.
I hope he plays 16 more. One of the most underrated, I think, players in NFL history.
100% agree.
Elite quarterback.
He's like my favorite quarterback to watch ever. He's so fun.
Shocked.
But I digress. That's going to do it for Taylor and I here on Patriots Daily. Back tomorrow. Thanks you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you soon. Peace out, everyone.